wanna take you for a ride through the countryside, just you and me in the sunrise. I wanna take you for a ride, leave it all behind, no plan in mind, headed for the sunrise. Sitting in the back of my truck, watching the sun come up. You and me, baby, watching the sunrise. I know the perfect spot, sun's up but it ain't hot, and I'll keep you warm watching the sunrise. It's time to wake up right now, only word I can say is wow. Miss it every day when you're sleeping in, but only beauty like that can show you true feeling. I know it's early, but there ain't no better time to see something so divine. It ain't the same alone as it would be with you. So let me take you for a ride through the countryside, just you and me in the sunrise. I wanna take you for a ride, leave it all behind, no plan in mind, headed for the sunrise. Sitting in the back of my truck, watching the sun come up. You and me, baby, watching the sunrise. I know the perfect spot, sun's up but it ain't hot, and I'll keep you warm watching the sunrise. Friday night when the moon is bright, sipping moonshine from the bottle, talking about tomorrows. Time flies by when you feel so high, and there ain't no better way for this night to end than right here, baby. Oh, sitting in the back of my truck, yeah, watching the sun come up. You and me, baby, watching the sunrise. I know the perfect spot when the sun's up but it ain't hot, and I'll keep you warm watching the sunrise. Sitting in the back of my truck, watching the sun come up. You and me, baby, watching the sunrise.
Welcome to the 2019 WIAA Championship Football Tournament Bracket Show. The Eli and NFHS Sports Network is live on site at the WIAA offices, where we will release the classification brackets and then talk with some of the committee members, break down each bracket, and get set for state football tournament action. Now let's go live to the WIAA headquarters in Renton for the 2019 WIAA State Football Tournament Bracket Show.
Good afternoon, I guess still just a little bit good morning, and welcome to the headquarters of the WIAA here in Renton. Paul Beattie along with Tony Davia. Jeff Monterochi is running our camera this afternoon, and we are here to reveal the brackets of the state high school football tournaments. And up first, we're going to start with the 2Bs, and we're going to put them up in just a few moments. We'll wait for the word. We're coinciding with the WIA Twitter feed as well. Do want to let you know that big thanks to Dairy Farmers of Washington, Les Schwab Tires, and Gisa Credit Union, the new sponsor with the WIA Gisa Credit Union, as well as jumping in and helping support all of these great tournaments. And so as we get set, the order is going to be the 2Bs will be first, then 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. Following that, Greg Whitmore is going to Whitmore. Sorry, I knew who Greg Whitmore was. Ryland Spencer right over there. He's going to jump on a little later as well. Greg Whitmore, the president of the WIA board, will jump on. We'll have a few words with him. Then Ryland Spencer will jump on. We'll go through the brackets a little bit. We've got a few highlights as well of some of the games that we did on the Eli Sports Network of getting that out to you. So I don't know if we're ready.
We are waiting on it. It is just now noon.
It is noon, so let's go ahead. We were told noon, so
Noon
let's go
and
ahead
4 seconds.
and put up the bracket for the 2B.
All right, we're going to start with the 2B upper bracket.
Upper bracket, and that is the Friday Harbor.
Lake Roosevelt at 11. The Friday Harbor is the 11.
Lake Roosevelt is 6. Rainier 14 will play number 3 Kalama. Kalama, the two-time defending state champions. Number 10 is Toledo. Number 7 is Colfax. And the final one in that bracket, Mabton, will face Napavine. Napavine, number 2 in that bracket. So that is the upper half of the bracket of the 2Bs. And let's go ahead to the lower bracket. Let's get the lower bracket up. And in that bracket, you will see Davenport take on Adna. Tenasket will face Jenkins Chewelah. Tri-Cities Prep at number 9 faces number 8 Soton. Number 16 Brewster will get number 1 on Alaska. And that is, do we have the ability to show the whole bracket? Or
No.
No. So, okay, let's go ahead and we'll flip back to the other bracket real quick so you can take a look at that. And again, this is going up on the WIAA Twitter at the same time. And this is the 2B brackets that have been released. WIAA also has a live mobile app now, and it's easily, you can access the WIAA State Championship brackets results, including this year's Gridiron Classic. The app is free and available for download in the Apple and Google Play stores. You can also visit WIAA.com/WIAA Live for direct download links. So you can get the full bracket on a page there. And again, we're going to go through all of these matchups again later with Ryland Spencer and take a look at some of these matchups. We're going to talk with Greg Whitmore about how some of these things came together. All right, the 1As are coming up next, but one more time, the number 1 for 2B on Alaska, number 2 is Napavine, number 3 is Kalama, number 4 Jenkins Chewelah, number 5 Adna, number 6 Lake Roosevelt, number 7 is, where'd it go? Colfax. Number 8 is Asotin. Number 9 is Tri-Cities Prep. Number 10 is Toledo. Number 11 is Friday Harbor. Number 12, Davenport. Number 13 is Tenasket. Number 14, Rainier. Number 15 is Mabton. And number 16 is Brewster. So that is the 2B bracket. They'll be played this coming Friday and Saturday. We'll get more information on this as well, but the athletic directors, of course, will get together and figure out best times, locations, and I think there's some, we'll get more details from Greg directly on what they have to look for as far as playing conditions and things like that of where they have to schedule these games. All right, let's go ahead and take a timeout. We're going to take a timeout. Up next will be the 1A brackets. The 2Bs in the books, the 1As are next here on the E-Line, NFHS Sports Network.
State competitions are getting closer each day. Do you have loved ones from far away who can't make the event? Do you have multiple kids in different sports? Or do you just know you won't be able to be there in person? Luckily, you don't have to miss a thing with Eli Sports Network and the NFHS Network. Eli Sports will be all over the state to bring live coverage to all of you at home who can't cheer in the stands but can cheer from the couch. Watch or listen live through a very easy process by becoming a subscriber to Eli Sports on the NFHS Network. Just go to our website, elisportsnetwork.com, and click Watch Live, or you can find a video on the front page that tells you how to sign up for 30 days. An easy payment of $10 a month gives you access to all the games live and on demand, easy to sign up, and just as easy to cancel at your convenience. Here's a list of the tournaments we'll be covering. November 10th, State Football Bracket Show. November 14th, 15th, and 16th, 1A, 2B, and 1B State Volleyball in Yakima. November 22nd and 23rd, 3A and 4A State Volleyball in Yakima. November 22nd and 23rd, B-Boys and B-Girls State Soccer in Sumner, 1A, 2A State Girls Soccer in Shoreline, and 3A, 4A State Girls Soccer in Puyallup. And in football, multiple games to be announced from the crossover to the semifinals, plus access to all 6 state football finals. Join us for the WIAA State Fall Championships and subscribe today. Just go to elisportsnetwork.com to get signed up, and we'll see you at state.
Hi there. It's Les Schwab Tires. Well, more like Les Schwab alignment and brakes and shocks and wheels and tires. Now, some tire places don't offer all that. They only sell tires. And we're not sure how they sleep at night, because all those services affect things like steering and stopping. That's why we offer more than tires to help keep you safe. Stop by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
The Sumner Holiday Inn Express is the Eli Sports Network's playoff headquarters. Located perfectly and within 15 minutes of the Tacoma Dome, Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Sunset in Sumner, and the athletic fields in Auburn and Kent. The Sumner Holiday Inn Express has all the comforts of home to be your team's traveling headquarters. Big, clean rooms, free breakfast, swimming pool, and workout room all on site. Make the Sumner Holiday Inn Express your headquarters.
The Port of Centralia is a local leader in bringing new family wage jobs to Southwest Washington. The Port of Centralia Board of Commissioners is proud to support the local businesses like the Eli Sports Network and our local kids. There is no doubt our future leaders are those that can commit, are dedicated, and self-motivated. The Port of Centralia believes high school sports is a great way to develop those skills. Best of luck, athletes, from the Port of Centralia.
And welcome back to Renton here. This is our bracket reveal show, the WIAA High School Gridiron Classic bracket review, and it is time for the 1As. So let's get right to the 1As. And the upper bracket, this is the number at the bottom of the bracket is going to be LaSalle. So LaSalle will end up as the number 2 bracket, and do we have that up?
For some reason, our bracket won't load in.
It is not submitting here. Okay, so
oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, we got her all fixed now. Okay, LaSalle is number 2, and they're at the bottom of the bracket. They'll take on number 15, Kashmir. The top of the bracket, Zilla, at number 11, faces number 6, Deer Park. Number 14, Meridian, will get number 3, Montesano. This is the bracket that had, Ryland had 7 undefeated teams in this. So try to figure out 7 undefeated. It was a challenge, and again, so there's no doubt going to be discussion about this. But number 3, Montesano, will get Meridian. Number 7, Linden Christian, will get Cascade Christian. Cascade Christian, one of the undefeateds, aren't they?
Yeah, they are 8-0.
8-0. So number 7, Cascade Christian, comes in at number 10. And again, number 2, LaSalle, undefeated against number 15, Kashmir. So that is the upper bracket of the 1A. Let's go to the lower bracket. And the number 1 seed, and this is probably no surprise, and it's going to be Royal. Royal, number 1 at the bottom of the bracket. They'll take on number 16, Charles Wright, in the opener. Let's go to the top of the bottom bracket, if that makes sense. Number 12 is Hoquiam, and they'll take on number 5, Mount Baker. Number 13, Connell, takes on undefeated number 4, La Center. And number 9, Colville, will take on number 8, OMAC.
Colville, the defending state champions from last year.
And a big-time defending state champions as they really handled Newport. Was it
48-7?
48-7 in that game. And Colville, and before that, though, Royal had run off 3 straight championships with wins over Meridian, Connell, and Kings in there. And they were second 2 years before that. So Royal has been on a run here. Did not get to the final 2 last year, which was a bit of a surprise, I think, to many people. But they're back, and they are number 1. So, again, Royal is number 1. They'll get Charles Wright. Number 2 is LaSalle, and they'll get Kashmir. Number 3, Montesano, gets Meridian. Number 4 is La Center. They'll get Connell. Number 5 is Mount Baker. They get Hoquiam. Number 6 is Deer Park. They'll battle Zilla. Number 7 is Linden Christian. They get Cascade Christian. Number 8 is OMAC. And OMAC, again, undefeated. They'll get the defending state champions. Number 9, Colville. And again, number 10 is Cascade Christian. Number 11 is Zilla. Number 12 is Hoquiam. Number 13, Connell. Number 14 is Meridian. 15, Kashmir. And number 16 is Charles Wright. So that is the 1A, and I think we'll have a lot of discussion about that coming up in a few minutes. about how this bracket came down. And again, I don't know. I don't have a lot of information on how this was all decided, and that was on purpose. I want to be asking questions that you'll be asking. And so from that standpoint, one of the questions is, how do you deal with 7 undefeated teams and then 2 teams with 1 losses and a defending state champion? This was a difficult bracket to come up with, and we'll talk about some of the things that were considered when the committee put that one together. Dairy Farmers of Washington are proud to co-title sponsors of the WIAA State Championship tournaments. Their sponsorship assists each school participating in the state tournaments and supports the maintenance of student programs. To learn more about the Dairy Farmers of Washington's involvement in our community, visit WADairy.com. We're going to take a quick time out. The 2As are next here on the Eli and the NFHS Sports Network.
I never dwell in the moment.
I be like.
I'm just constantly focused on the next thing. When I reach a goal, I cross it off and set a new one.
Alderson's Awards West Printwares is your one stop to tell the world about your school, club, or business. Spread the word on jackets, shirts, hats, and more from Awards West Printwares in Centralia. Awards West Printwares offers fast service of quality products including screen printing and embroidery done on site. They offer a wide variety of advertising specialties at great prices and delivered right to your door. For a full catalog, go online to aldersons.net. For maximum impact, Aldersons Awards West Printwares is ready to serve you today.
Pacific Mobile Structures are big supporters of kids and athletics. Pacific Mobile Structures is the leader in temporary structures. If you are in need of temporary office space on a work site or for overflow space, or if your building is in need of major renovation, Pacific Mobile Structures can keep your company at work. Pacific Mobile Structures has a wide variety of square footage to fit your needs, and the structures do not have to be temporary. Pacific Mobile Structures can also offer you permanent space for a fraction of the cost to build your own. Go online to check out Pacific Mobile Structures.
The Spunky Monkey Bar and Grill offers great family fun and fabulous fresh-made food. Located in downtown Auburn, we also offer karaoke 7 nights a week at 9 p.m. and Monkey Masters Trivia every Monday. We're open 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. daily, with full menu service available until 1:30 a.m. and kids welcome until 9. At the Spunky Monkey Bar and Grill, we have been proudly supporting our community for over 20 years. For pre-game fun or post-game celebrations, we look forward to you becoming a part of our family. Check us out at spunkymonkeybarandgrill.com.
And we are back, and, well, I guess the bracket was up, right? Let's go ahead. Let's get right to the bracket. The 2As are next. Only one undefeated team in the 2A complete, and that is Tumwater at 10-0. And they will be the number 1 team. They're in the bottom of the bracket, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's get to the upper bracket. Stillicum ended up as the number 2 team. They'll face Ridgefield in their opener. Top of that bracket saw Washougal get to number 11. They'll face number 6 Clarkston in the opener. Othello will get Linden, number 14 Othello. Linden, number 3. Number 10 is Eatonville, and they'll play number 7 Prosser. And then again, number 15, Ridgefield battles number 2, Stillicum. So that's the upper level of the 2A bracket. In the bottom level, let's get to that, Tony. In the bottom level, there you have number 1, Tumwater, and they'll face number 16, Franklin Pierce. At the top of the bottom bracket there, number 12, Squim. They get number 5, Lakewood.
Both of those teams 9-1.
Yeah, both having good seasons, and this is Lakewood North, not Lakes in Clover Park. Those are 3A schools anyway. Ellensburg, number 13, will face number 4 Hawkinson. Hawkinson, 2-time defending state champions. Yes, they have some injuries, but they're still on a run down there. We'll talk more about them as well. And number 9, always consistent North Kitsap, and they get Archbishop Murphy, which might surprise some folks that they're down at the number 8 spot. So, again, reviewing them all, number 1 is Tumwater. They get Franklin Pierce. Number 2 is Stillicum. They get Ridgefield. Number 3 is Linden. They get Othello. Number 4, Hawkinson. They get Ellensburg. Number 5 is Lakewood. They get Squim. Number 6 is Clarkston. They get Washougal. Number 7 is Prosser. They get Eatonville. Number 8 is Archbishop Murphy. They get North Kitsap. Number 9 is North Kitsap. Number 10 again is Eatonville. Number 11, Washougal. Number 12 is, where did 12 go? Squim. Number 13 is Ellensburg. Number 14 is Othello. Number 15, Ridgefield. And number 16 is Franklin Pierce. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. Up next, we're rolling along. The 3A brackets are next here on the Bracket Show, live from the WIAA headquarters in Renton on the NFHS and ESN networks. The family law team at Rogers, Key, Card, and Strophe, headed by Megan Card, is here for your family when you need them most. With caring representation, Megan and the family law team handle legal separations, divorce, child custody, paternity, adoption, and more. They are strong advocates and are here to help you and your family through good times and bad. If you need help, you can find them at budbaylaw.com to schedule a consultation with Megan Card.
OB Credit Union is your local credit union throughout the South Sound area. At OB Credit Union, you can open a personal savings account or checking account and plan for your financial future. David Littleton is a financial advisor, and he's waiting to hear from you today. Dave can help plan for your future and put in safeguards for when times get tough, while taking advantage of high-profit time periods. OB Credit Union is a longtime community member and supporter of local students. Stop in today at OB Credit Union in Lacey, Tumwater, and Tenino.
Welcome back to the Bracket Show here at the WIAA headquarters in Renton. Paul Beattie along with Tony Davila. Jeff Monterochi on the camera for us today. We'll also be talking with Greg Whitmore, who's the president of the WIAA board, and Ryland Spencer, just all-around know-it-all, will be with us here as well. So we'll talk with Ryland in a little bit. But first, let's get to the upper bracket of the 3A tournament. And Tony, reveal and does. And there you'll see Eastside Catholic as the number 2 team, and I don't think that's any surprise. I think it would be a surprise to people before the season, thinking that they'd probably be number 1. But you had that head-to-head matchup with O'Day, and that pretty much settled who was going to be number 1 and who was number 2. Eastside Catholic, number 2. Top of the bracket there, Prairie, having an excellent year down there in the GSHL 4A. They'll get the 11 seed, and they'll face number 6, Marysville Pilchuck. And MP also having a heck of a season.
Yeah, Marysville Pilchuck 11-0 on the year.
11-0, and they'll get a tough first-round matchup with the Falcons of Prairie. Seattle Prep, number 14, will get Lincoln. The Abes also, again, rolling in with a pretty good season overall.
Lincoln's 8-2, Seattle Prep 6-3.
And then Lakes, the Lancers, ended up 3rd in the PCL, but they'll get into the tournament, number 10, and they'll get... there they are, the Bellevue Wolverines at number 7. Number 15, Squalicum, will then have the pleasure of getting number 2, Eastside Catholic. So it's Prairie, Marysville, Pilchuck, Seattle Prep, Lincoln, Lakes, Bellevue, and Squalicum, Eastside Catholic in the upper bracket of the 3A. Let us reveal the bottom bracket, and there at the top, number 12, Yelm. The Tornadoes having a great year under Coach Jason Ronquillo. They'll get number 5, Kennewick, in the opening round. Garfield, number 13, will get number 4, Bethel. Bethel finished 2nd in the PCL, and they had a head-to-head with Lincoln, and that's why they end up number 4, and Lincoln ends up number 3. Number 9 is Peninsula, also out there on the Peninsula, having a good year in the SCC, or SSC, South Sound Conference. winning the South Sound Conference. Mount Spokane is who they'll get, who's number 8. And then number 16, Kelso, gets number 1, O'Day, in the opener. So, again, number 1, O'Day will get Kelso. Number 2, Eastside Catholic will get Squalicum. Number 3, Lincoln will get Seattle Prep. Number 4, Bethel will get Garfield. Number 5, Kennewick gets Yelm. Number 6, Marysville Pilchuck gets Prairie. Number 7, Bellevue gets Lakes, that is. Number 8, Mount Spokane gets number 9, Peninsula. Number 10, again, is Lakes. Number 11 is Prairie. Number 12 is Yelm. Number 13 is Garfield. Number 14 is Seattle Prep. 15, Squalicum. And number 16 is Kelso. And there is the 3A bracket. Hey, if you want more information, you can go to the WIAA Live mobile app, easily accessible, and you can find it available for download in the Apple and Google Play stores. You can also visit the WIAA.com/WIAA Live for a direct download link. That is the new WIAA Live mobile app. All right, one more bracket to go, then we're going to talk about things. The 4A bracket reveal is next here on the Eli and the NFHS Sports Networks.
Hi there. It's Les Schwab Tires. Well, more like Les Schwab alignment and brakes and shocks and wheels and tires. Now, some tire places don't offer all that. They only sell tires. And we're not sure how they sleep at night, because all those services affect things like steering and stopping. That's why we offer more than tires to help keep you safe. Stop by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
The Holiday Inn Express in Chehalis is pleased to support the student athletes that dedicate themselves to be the best they can be. The Holiday Inn Express offers large, clean rooms with an indoor pool, fitness center, spa, free breakfast, Wi-Fi, and business center. The Chehalis Holiday Inn Express also has 2 meeting rooms and can accommodate up to 100. Call for more details or go online at hiexpress.com, or you can click on the Holiday Inn Express advertisement on the Eli Sports Network. When you are looking to stay overnight, remember the Holiday Inn Express.
Your everyday transactions are changing. They involve simplified processes, digital efficiency, and ease of doing business in an online world. Now, e-closings with Stewart Title are doing the same for real estate transactions, helping to eliminate long wait times and the endless stacks of paper that have been part of typical closings. Isn't it time you and your clients enjoyed an easier closing experience? Let Stewart Title, the industry leader for e-closings, help you enjoy the benefits of a digital process.
Since 1978, Rogers Key, Card, and Strophe has offered their clients excellent representation in all facets of legal areas as a general practice law firm. They're serving Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Pierce, and Grays Harbor counties. Our team of professionals' focus is on personal injury, family law, criminal defense and DUIs, estate planning, corporate, business, and real estate law. You can find them at budbaylaw.com for more information. And welcome back to the Renton headquarters of the WIAA. And this is the Gridiron Classic bracket show reveal. We are now ready for the final bracket, the 4As. And let's go to the upper bracket there, Tony. And in the upper bracket, you will see right at the top, number 11, Mount Si. Mount Si will be the 11th seed, and they will get number 6, Chiawana. And then as we move down, number 14, Union, the defending state champions. And they went 14-0 last year. This year, they've had their challenges, but still qualified in, and they have a shot at defending their state championship. They'll get number 3, Lake Stevens. And definitely, I think we're going to have some discussions about this bracket with Ryland here as we coming up in a little bit, as really the top 4 really could be interchangeable, and where they landed and how they landed. It's a tough process to go through to figure everything out, but that is where Lake Stevens ended up. Number 3, they'll get Union. Number 7, Puyallup. They'll face number 10, Eastlake. And number 2 will be Camas. Camas won 3 years ago against Richland. and lost to Chiawana a few years ago in that spectacular game, one of the best state final championship games ever. Camas and Chiawana, where Chiawana came back and won that thing.
Yeah, lots of newspaper guys had already submitted stories
and had left because to get their deadline, and they had to change it. But they're back in as number 2, and they'll get Eastmont out of Wenatchee, number 15. All right, let's get to the lower bracket. Who's number 1? It will be Kennedy Catholic. Kennedy Catholic, they'll get number 16 Wenatchee in the opener. Let's go to the top there. Kentwood has had an excellent season here, and they will come in at number 12 against number 5 Bothell, who's always tough. Number 13 is Gonzaga Prep. They'll get number 4 Graham Kapowsin, another powerful year for Graham Kapowsin. Number 9 Skyview out of the GSHL 4A. They'll get number 8 Woodinville. We had a chance to see Woodinville last night with Emerald Ridge, and they look like they're ready to make a run. And again, number 16 is Wenatchee, and they'll get number 1 Kennedy Catholic. So number 1 is Kennedy Catholic. Number 2, and they get Wenatchee. Number 2, Camas, they get Eastmont. Number 3 is Lake Stevens, they get Union. Number 4 is Graham Kapowsin, they get Gonzaga Prep. Number 5 is Bothell, and they get Kentwood. Number 6 is Chiawana, they get Mount Si. Number 7 is Puyallup, they get Eastlake. Number 8 is Woodinville. They get number 9, Skyview. And then again, number 10 is, where I lost them again, that's Eastlake. Number 11 is Mount Si. Number 12 is Kentwood. Number 13 is Gonzaga Prep. Number 14 is Union. Number 15 is Eastmont. And number 16 is Wenatchee. All right, those are the brackets. They are out. And now it's time to talk about them a little bit. We're going to take a timeout. Greg Whitmore is going to join us next. And we're going to talk about the process. We'll talk about the state finals locations and just how all of this really, how it works and how it comes out and how these decisions are made. And then after that, we'll talk with Ryland Spencer. We'll talk about some of the matchups and some of the interesting highlights that come out of these brackets. Still a little more to go here. We hope you'll continue to join us. But the brackets are out. The state tournament is set. And kickoff will be on Friday and Saturday, likely. Likely we'll get some Friday games, won't we? No doubt. Yeah, exactly. Friday and Saturday. And we'll talk about how that process is determined as well with Greg coming up. Take another break here. Greg Whitmore with the WIAA Executive President of the Board will be here, and we'll talk more about that process next here on the Eli and the NFHS Sports Network.
I never dwell in the moment.
I feel like,
I'm just constantly focused on the next thing. When I reach a goal, I cross it off and set a new one.
The Spunky Monkey Bar and Grill offers great family fun and fabulous fresh-made food. Located in downtown Auburn, we also offer karaoke 7 nights a week at 9 p.m. and Monkey Masters Trivia every Monday. We're open 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. daily, with full menu service available until 1:30 a.m. and kids welcome until 9. At the Spunky Monkey Bar and Grill, we have been proudly supporting our community for over 20 years. For pre-game fun or post-game celebrations, we look forward to you becoming a part of our family. Check us out at spunkymonkeybarandgrill.com.
When you come through the doors of Weichert Reynolds Realty at 2532 Pacific Avenue in Olympia, owners Randy and Ryan and their team of all-stars will take care of you every step of the way in your new home buying process. Looking to buy or sell in Thurston County and surrounding areas? Your first call should be to Weichert Reynolds Real Estate at 360-412-6731 or go to their website at weichertrealestaternw.com. When it comes to real estate, turn to the pros at Weichert Reynolds. And welcome back to the WIAA headquarters here in Renton. Paul Beattie along with Tony Davila. And Jeff Monterochi running the camera. Greg Whitmore, the president of the board, is here. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing well. It's been a long week and a long season, but kind of glad to have this process done.
It just man, it seems like this season went by fast, but then you look back and you feel, yeah, it is kind of long and fast at the same time, if that's an odd combination there. But one of the first things, let's get this out of the way first, because it is something that people are going to be talking about and want to know some answers or some insight at least. Let's talk about the final destinations. The 2A, 3A state championships will be played at Spark Stadium in Puyallup. 4A and 1Bs at Mount Tahoma High School, and then the 2B and 1A at Harry Lang Stadium, Clover Park School District there. By the way, Eli Sports will be at 1A and 2B. That's where we are. Root Sports will be at Puyallup for the 3A and 2A, and our friend Matt Bissett with ABC Jam will have the 4A and 1B at Mount Tahoma. So they'll all be streamed live if you can't get there, but we want you to come to the games.
You bet.
So, of course, it's been at the Tacoma Dome. And the Tacoma Dome, everyone's looking for an answer. And the answer is the Tacoma Dome, except it's not the answer anymore because they changed it and renovated. It's just not feasible to have it in the Tacoma Dome, right?
Well, that's right. And, Paul, you know, they told me when I got on the executive board it'd be an easy job. There'd be no tough decisions, but there's tough decisions almost every meeting. And certainly taking the state championships out of the Tacoma Dome and even the semifinals a year ago was a real tough decision. And, you know, we've developed a great relationship with the city of Tacoma and the Tacoma Dome over the years. Shoot, I played in that or coached in it in 2000, 02, 04, won a state championship, 12 and 13, and then was a spectator almost every other year. So when you develop that type of relationship with an organization or a building, and you develop some long-time traditions within your family, right, going to those games, it's hard to give it up. So we didn't take that decision lightly. And, of course, part of the problem was finances. Our contract was up with the Tacoma Dome, so we had to make a decision. And with declining revenue and attendance and increasing costs, that coupled with some of the changes, as you spoke, about the sight lines and the stuff that they've done.
Sight lines were really ended up being a big issue. I mean, it really is an issue. You can't be too close. You can't even see your own team unless you're in the first 5 rows of there. It's just the way it configured. And they needed to do it for what they want to do with that facility long term and not just for a weekend of football. So.
Exactly. And as I said, it was a tough decision, but in the end we decided we needed to have a better championship experience for the kids and for the fans, and that's cheerleaders, bands, you name it, parents, and all that sort of thing. So
let's be clear about this as well. This is not a final solution or answer right now. This is something that you guys will continue to look at and continue to evolve and see, and who knows, there may be other facilities that become available at some time that you can take a look at. You're really able to kind of move around here a little bit.
Well, you bet. Our staff does a tremendous job looking at all the sites around the state, see what capacity they have. They study parking, they study costs, they study everything. We always want in every one of our tournaments to be a great experience for our kids. And along with that, even though we had to secure those 3 really nice sites, you know, parking was an issue, so we couldn't put 3A, 4A in one and that sort of thing for parking issues. And the other thing we can do that people might not realize, if we have a situation like last year where you have 2 East Side teams, I think it was Colville, Newport, and then you had Odessa, ACH.
Yeah, you had 4 teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, they were going to come to the Tacoma Dome and play that game last year, but this year we can use some common sense. If the weather's okay and we can find a nice site and those teams prefer to play over there, we have some capabilities to do that.
Moving around a little bit and have that flexibility that you just don't have in here. Now let's take. I want to talk a little bit about the process. You get the committees get their 60. First of all, it's a little different than last year, and it actually seemed to go a lot faster this year and a little smoother. Tell us the difference of what you did last year to this year.
Right. So last year was our first year, our inaugural year, and you know we're kind of putting that whole process together as we went, and jumping over hurdles and taking care of that. But last year we decided to have each committee take care of 2 classifications, and they were pressed for time a little bit. We had 3A, 4A, a mix of 3A, 4A coaches and ADs and representatives, and they certainly knew their classification well, but maybe not necessarily the other classification, so they had to do a lot of homework And when it came to this day, they didn't feel quite as prepared. So that was one of the changes we certainly made that I heard hands down is unanimous. That was a great change, so we'll keep doing that. Another key change we did was allow league reps from around the state. We reached out this last week and asked them for any information that they may provide us, our committees, that would help them about their league. What were the head-to-head matchups? Are you in a tiered league? Were there key injuries early? How would you rate your teams that came out of that? So that seemed to be helpful too, along with all the other data that we have. And
how many lightning delays, which I think was a record this year? So
yeah, weather's always an issue, and it's something we worry about, makeup games and this sort of thing. Yeah.
So when they get in and they start talking about, and let's go right to me, the hardest one was the 1A.
Yeah.
Yeah, what, 7 undefeated teams, and you got Mount Baker and Lynn and Christian at 7, and then you have the defending state champion there too. I mean, and then to have to try. So what are some of the considerations that they take? Clearly record, we know that, but are there considerations of looking at what the bracket might look like in the next round, or how do they go through that process?
Yeah, it's a great question. Now, of course, in the old way of doing things, we'd have those undefeated teams going in through the allocation process, and you could have 2 really highly ranked teams knock each other out. So that's one thing, this whole process we wanted to avoid. And that's the beauty of having the committees. They start communicating really all season long with each other, and they talk about head-to-head matchups. They go out and watch film. They go to games. Ryland Spencer, who you'll chat with in a few minutes, has gone to more games than anyone I know, so I rely on him a lot. And then when we get to this day, they all put their top 16 in. They rank them, give them to us. We put them in a spreadsheet, and that comes out with an average ranking. And we put that in an initial draft bracket. So that's the first step, and that's the other elephant in the room that's asked a lot, Paul, is how can you have a coach on the committee that has a team in that? And we have some checks and balances, and the main thing we do is, again, all committee members put in their rankings. We put that into a spreadsheet, gives an average. So really no one coach could affect his rankings to any great extent. And then
it's also a little bit curious in that situation. Those coaches tend to actually be, because you also have athletic directors that with things like, but they tend to be actually maybe a little too honest about everything and saying, look, this is where we are, and it actually seems to play out opposite of what people might think. Oh, they're in there trying to get their team. They come in very open and honest about where their team is and where they think they belong.
They do. We talk about perceptions and bias and that sort of thing, but these folks are professionals. And at one point today in one of the classifications, they were trying to make a tough decision whether to switch 2 teams for travel, or is one team better than the other, and that coach was the affected one. He stepped out of the room while the rest of the committee made that decision, and so that's the type of people we have on the committee, and that's why I trust the process and like what we've done this year as opposed to year 2 or year 1.
And so at times so some people will say, well, is it just 1 through 16 and that should be it? But there's some massaging of it in there, and if it makes sense, where 2 teams can stay on the east side and 2 teams can stay on the west side and avoid that huge trip on the first round. And it's just a tweak of going from 8 to 9 or 10 to 11 or something like that. Those are things that they take a look at?
Exactly right. Under the old process, we tried to keep travel. That's what the allocations were for. But so we knew when we went to RPI for basketball and a little bit for football, we knew, and we were pretty clear with schools, it's going to increase some travel.
Yep.
But what we do try to do is look at, okay, you might be traveling a long ways first round, but we can tweak this so you're not traveling that far 2 weeks in a row. So we're trying to keep, obviously, superintendents and school boards are very budget conscious. We're trying to keep that in mind as long as we, while we're putting up this fair bracket. So that's one thing we do. We also separate teams from the same league.
Right.
We don't want teams to...
As best you can.
Best you can.
For instance, the 2Bs, it's almost impossible to separate because there's too many of them from the same. So you're going to have sometimes, for instance, I'm looking at the 4A bracket, Wenatchee and Kennedy Catholic. And it's going to be a long trip, and you try to avoid it where you can, but sometimes you can't. And so that will play out at times, but again, it's a soft massage of trying to be as realistic as you can.
It is.
While making it fair.
Yeah, and the committees, I stepped in on every one of them. I don't really provide much input on any of them. I just try to make sure they're following the process, but they do a tremendous amount of deliberation, and they're trying to not only look at what's a fair bracket, balanced bracket, but also take into consideration how hard that might be on a team traveling 2 weeks in a row.
As the board president, a couple more quick things here that I think are really important to touch on. Number one, yes, we provide a live video stream. It is a subscription, and it is, we have gotten emails and texts from people from Iraq, from Afghanistan, from literally a fisherman in the middle of the Bering Sea got to watch his son play his sport because of this. Those are the great stories, but we want you to go to the games. Get to the games, Greg, and yes, I would love to say, oh, yes, they chose to listen to me, my golden voice, at home instead of, no, go to the game. That's where the excitement is. You can't beat going to the game. So get to the games. That's got to be the first priority, and, let's pack these stadiums all the way through these games that are coming up.
And we have that discussion all the time. We're in a digital world, and it's pretty easy to stay home and watch Netflix, right? Or
yep.
That sort of thing, but you can't substitute. There's no substitute for going with your band, going with your friends and cheering and putting on face paint and dressing crazy and being right there. So yeah, that's what we're
giggling because last night the Emerald Ridge, apparently they have a drum line.
Drum line that they play.
We got there at 5:15 and they were playing, and we left and they were still playing. And there was a crowd in front of them watching them the whole time. And, in fact, we saw some of the players and coaches leaving, and the band is still playing for Emerald Ridge last night. So,
so that's what's so important for us. It's not just the players, right? It's the coaches,
yep.
It's the band members, it's the cheerleaders, it's the student body. It's it's all. We want to create that great experience.
One last thing we want to touch on, and I know that there's some things that are hopefully we're being worked on, but officials. Folks, officials don't get up in the morning and go, I can't wait to go and, make a bad call it is a difficult job, and we're losing them. And there's a crisis right now as far as officials, numbers of officials. And without officials, the games aren't going on. And I know, Greg, you probably know firsthand we have to reschedule, and some teams can't play on Friday night football. They'll have to play Thursday or Saturday. There's no crews. We need folks to get a little more serious about officials. Number one, lay off of them, especially in basketball when you're close. Quit being, so mean and nasty with some of the comments that are thrown at them. Support them. And, yeah, they're going to miss a call. That's part of life, though. Who doesn't miss a call in life? Adjust to it and move on and just buy it. But it really encouraged people to be supportive of officials. And if you need to earn some extra money and you love sports, get out there and do it. And there is a crisis. It is getting to a crisis situation of officials in all sports.
It is all sports, and it's the same theme around the country. And what it really is, especially at the sub-varsity and those younger.
Yeah.
If we can hang on to those young officials for 3 years, we think we have them for a while.
For a while, yeah.
And the WIAA and the WIAA are really working closely together to recruit, train, observe and retain them.
Right.
And so that's what it's a huge emphasis. But you're exactly right. We're having to make a lot of schedule changes just because of lack of officials.
So yeah, let's see if we can't start supporting that effort and just understand you buy that ticket. It isn't a ticket just to sit there and scream at someone in stripes.
Right.
And actually, I've actually told people in a basketball game, your kid's having a pretty good game. You might want to start watching him. So instead of worrying about 3 in the key.
Exactly right.
All right, Greg Whitmore, president here of the exec board of the WIAA. We're going to take one more time out. When we come back, the one and only Ryland Spencer is going to jump on, and we're going to talk a little more detailed about some of these matchups here, some of the interesting ones to look at, and maybe some that we can take a look at down the road that could be matchups that could be interesting as well. We'll be back after this timeout with more from the Bracket Reveal Show here at the WIAA headquarters in Renton on the Eli and the NFHS Sports Network.
Hi there. It's Les Schwab Tires. Well, more like Les Schwab alignment and brakes and shocks and wheels and tires. Now, some tire places don't offer all that. They only sell tires. And we're not sure how they sleep at night, because all those services affect things like steering and stopping. That's why we offer more than tires to help keep you safe. Stop by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
The Sumner Holiday Inn Express is the Eli Sports Network's playoff headquarters. Located perfectly and within 15 minutes of the Tacoma Dome, Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Sunset in Sumner, and the athletic fields in Auburn and Kent. The Sumner Holiday Inn Express has all the comforts of home to be your team's traveling headquarters. Big, clean rooms, free breakfast, swimming pool, and workout room all on site. Make the Sumner Holiday Inn Express your headquarters.
The Port of Centralia is a local leader in bringing new family wage jobs to Southwest Washington. The Port of Centralia Board of Commissioners is proud to support the local businesses like the Eli Sports Network and our local kids. There is no doubt our future leaders are those that can commit, are dedicated, and self-motivated. The Port of Centralia believes high school sports is a great way to develop those skills. Best of luck, athletes from the Port of Centralia.
If you have suffered a personal injury that wasn't your fault, the attorneys at Rogers, Key, Card, and Strophe work hard to get you a fair settlement. Managing partner Scott Key spearheads the personal injury practice that features decades of experienced attorneys to represent you with a proven history of successful verdicts and settlements. You can find them at budbaylaw.com to schedule a free consultation with Scott Key. And welcome back to the WIAA headquarters here in Renton. Paul Beattie along with Tony Davila. Jeff Monterochi, the camera guru for us today. Thank you, Jeff, coming up. And Ryland Spencer has joined us, and Ryland is well known around the state. Apparently, just kind of a football hobo. As you just kind of go around from city and stadium to stadium, and you got it all here. So, Ryland, you are in a unique position simply because you're not attached to a school, you're not attached to a coaching staff. You cover high school sports or high school football, and you're the only one that is a part of all 6. And by the way, 1B is not revealed today because they're an 8-team bracket. They'll be revealed next week. We won't have a show for that. That'll just be revealed. So sorry, 1Bs. But you have input on everyone. So let's first of all, why don't you tell us a little about what you do during the football season and why would one person be on all of the committees?
So this year we are now just after week 10. I've been to something like 42 games. I'm actually just went over 5,000 miles for the year this week. So really, I travel around the state. I watch every level of play. So I've seen some 8-man teams. I've seen all the way up to 4A, everybody. Yep. And so really with my job, I'm flexible. So I can go do a lot of different things. If I need to go to Kettle Falls on a Thursday night, trust me, I don't want to go, but I'm going to drive all the way up to Kettle Falls and watch a game. So, it's the beauty of what I'm able to do. And with our website, Cascadia Preps, we cover the state, trying to do as much as we can to help these kids out and, bring exposure and as much, attention as we can to high school football.
All right. And with that, you want to jump into some of these brackets here?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to go in the same order as they were revealed, and Tony may be popping up, and you nudge me if you've got a highlight that you want to throw on there when we get to them. And if not, then that's okay too. But the 2Bs came out. Number 1, Onalaska. Number 2, Napavine. Number 3, Kalama. Number 4, Jenkins Chewelah. Number 5, Adna. Number 6 was Lake Roosevelt. 7, Colfax. 8, Asotin. 9, Tri-Cities Prep. 10, Toledo. 11, Friday Harbor. 12 was Davenport. 13, Tonasket. 14, Rainier. 15, Mapton. And Brewster was number 16. Onalaska undefeated. Really, there was no question of who was going to be number 1. Was there a question after that, though?
I think for the most part it was kind of a consensus on 1, 2, and 3. Look, Napavine beat Kalama, and then where you started getting questions was at number 4 and number 5 with Chewelah and with Adna. Adna, their 3 losses are to the 3 teams ahead of them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting spot that they're in. Chewelah, I don't think a lot of people realize how good that football team is out there. It's north of Spokane. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's a long drive from where we're at right now, but that's a real good football team. They're very talented. They've been kind of a growing program the last couple of years, and they have some losses early in the season, but they've been real hot late, kind of beating up on some good teams.
Well, okay, and then a couple others in the middle. Let's take a look at Lake Roosevelt and Colfax.
Yeah, that's 2 teams. Colfax, honestly, they probably would have been higher had they not lost to Reardon a couple of weeks ago. The Colfax team, a lot of people were really high on them, and I agree. I think they're a real good football team. And look, Colfax is kind of one of those teams that I don't know how you say it, like a legendary team.
Yeah,
they're always really talented. They've been down for a little bit, but they look like they're back now. Lake Roosevelt, a team that last year lost in the first round of the state tournament to Onalaska. That was an 8-9 matchup. I like Lake Roosevelt. I really do. I think those guys are talented, and this is probably it's weird because they lose 2 of their best players off of last year's team to graduation, but this team might actually be better. It's kind of interesting to see.
Colfax, by the way, is where the winningest coach in state history got his first state championship.
Yes.
Yep. He coached a few other places before there, very lightly, but coached it on.
Meridian?
He was at
I think it was Meridian, Colfax.
It wasn't Meridian. It was out.
I'm putting you on the spot now.
Yeah, you are. It's up off of the peninsula there somewhere, small town. Anyway, it will come to me later tonight, and I'll tell myself. But nonetheless, others, anyone from 10 on or 9 on, Asotin and Tri-City Preps, anyone in that lower half you see that looks interesting to you that might have a shot at pulling a couple of upsets?
Tri-Cities Prep, I think, is the first one that stands out. They're really talented. The hard thing became, and this is where Tri-Cities Prep and Asotin, they both have 1 loss. Asotin's loss is to Colfax. Tri-Cities Prep, they lost to Columbia Burbank, who then lost to Mabton. So you see their Mabton at number 15. It's a tough spot to be put in, but kind of in a way, Tri-Cities Prep, had they been able to beat that Columbia Burbank team, they might have given themselves a much better spot. Tri-Cities Prep, I think that they have a shot to make some noise. Toledo's another team. That Toledo team they're really good, and if they're playing their best football, I could see them going across the mountains and beating Colfax.
That'll be a good matchup there, that's for sure. That'll be a challenging one for sure. All right, let us move on to the 1As here, which I still think had to be the most difficult to figure out. You have 7 undefeated teams and 2 that you really like with 1 losses, so that pushes you to the top 9. Yeah. And then just a roll of the dice. I guess I really don't think there was much question about number 1, even though with all that in Royal.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Wiley Allred, I think if you're watching this, you probably know who he is. They've won a lot of games over the years. They lost last year in the semifinals to Colville, but I think a lot of people would probably argue they were the number 1 or the number 2 best team, in the state last year. So this is a team that they're loaded again. The crazy thing is they're actually still pretty young. They're not going to lose a ton off of this year's team to head into next season. So it looks like Royal is going to be around for a while.
I think the next 3, the question most that's going to be asked is they're all 3 undefeated all three with impressive victories, all three with impressive point totals, point differentials. But did they really play a tough schedule? LaSalle, number 2, number 3, Montesano, number 4, La Center.
Yeah, and this is where the committee, like 7 undefeated teams, and then you have Linden Christian and Mount Baker, who are both with 1 loss, and it's to each other. So this is where the committee, I was in this spot where they were sitting there talking about it, and there was a lot of just great conversation between the coaches. And the thing is you've got La Center's coach in there, LaSalle's coach is in there. So some people might say, those guys really pushed to get their teams high, but I was sitting right there watching it. Nobody had any more say than anybody, and that's something that Greg Whitmore talked about. Is there's a checks and a balances in all of this, and at the end of the day, we all kind of have to agree on everything. And I'll tell you what, I just looking at this, I like it. I really like it. I think when you talk like 2 to about number 9, it's almost interchangeable in a way, like you talked about with 4A,
right,
kind of being interchangeable. It's interesting. There's no argument who's number 1. And then kind of from, maybe 10 down, there's not a whole lot of arguments, but, then you got Cascade Christian, an undefeated team at number 10. So,
right.
It's all kind of interesting when you look at things. But, one of the things people got to remember, too, is when you look at some of this stuff, Greg talked about it, if you have a chance to flip 2 teams, and let's just say it's number 9 and number 10, you can flip those 2 teams and save 2 teams from having to travel over the mountains to go face somebody else. It just makes sense to do that.
Well, and you take a look. They did as best as they could. 8 and 9 is Colville and Omak. Charles Wright and Royal. That's going to happen there. But we're talking about the ones that could. LaSalle at number 2. At number 3, they would have had to come over, or Meridian would have had to go over the mountains. At number 4, they would have gotten Connell. So LaSalle, but they get Kashmir. So that's like. And then Montesano at 3, they get Meridian. That keeps Meridian on this side of the mountains at least. And on number 4, La Center. And sometimes you just run out of ways to get around that. And you're going to have a few teams of trying to limit that, but also not trying to make that a big priority at the same time.
Yeah,
that's a heck of a balancing act to do.
And that's the hard thing is you might flip 2 teams, but it might actually mess it up for 3 or 4 more.
Right.
So if that's the case, then you kind of don't want to do it. But maybe it makes sense to do it. And I'll tell you, there was a lot of conversation in this. It was especially, I think 2B had a lot of conversation. 1A probably had the most.
Well, let's take a look as we go forward. Royal, if they win, and they're number 1. But their quarterfinal matchup is not a cupcake. You either get the defending champions or you get Omak, who's undefeated, a team that you kind of like. You think quite a bit of Omak.
I like Omak. They got a good
That's
quarterback.
That's a tough quarterfinal to roll into.
The good thing for Royal, it would be a home game. So that's about kind of what they got. And this is where when we talked about it, and having Linden Christian and Mount Baker with the 1 loss. The team that maybe gets hurt the most in all of it is Royal.
Yeah.
Because that second round matchup could be, either the defending champs who have 2 losses to 2 pretty good teams, or Omak, like you said, who's undefeated.
Yeah. La Center Connell will meet the winner of Mount Baker Hoquiam. So if you're looking at, again, one of the things I think people forget about tournaments is that brackets are set for the favorite to win. And when there's an upset, that throws the whole thing off. I mean, and that's the beauty of it. That's why we like it. That's why people don't want to see. I know you're kind of for maybe reseeding after each round. Some people like that idea. I don't. I like the chaos of the upset.
I don't necessarily want to see reseeding. What I would like to see is maybe the better seeded team get the home game.
Yeah.
That I would be for.
Yeah, to me, the highest seed should be the home team. I don't know why that isn't, but I agree with you on that. But I like the chaos of an upset that throws things off. To me, I like that.
It's a lot more fun to cover, that's for sure.
Exactly. And then you have LaSalle and Linden Christian potentially, Cascade. I mean, if LaSalle wins, okay, then you get Linden Christian or Cascade Christian.
Yep.
Linden
Christian
is listed Linden Christian, and Cascade's undefeated. Montesano and Meridian, the winner, and Meridian, they come in 4 and 7. If you think that's a cupcake, Meridian's 7 losses are to who?
Their 7 losses are to one of the better teams out of California. They lost to Cedar Woolley, to Colville.
A 2A.
Yeah,
the defending champions.
The defending champs, and then they lost twice to both Linden Christian and Mount Baker. So it's not like actually I would say every team that's on there outside of Cedro-Woolley is in the state tournament.
Yeah.
And Cedro-Woolley, they lost to Archbishop Murphy, so it's not like they lost to just some,
Right.
cupcake. So,
Right,
yeah, I mean,
right.
they have had probably one of the toughest schedules. I saw them on Tuesday night against Granite Falls. They looked really tough. And then they went and beat a Kings team that had, really thumped some people lately, and they put up a ton of points.
So, yeah, again, not easy is the 1A bracket. Okay, we're starting to run a little long here. Let's it's
I feel
easy
like we
to
could
do.
talk all day.
It is easy to do, and if you're still watching, it's easy to do. Hopefully other people will come back and take a look at it. Let's take a look at the 2A. We go from a bracket with 7 undefeated teams to a bracket with 1.
Yeah.
Tumwater, the only undefeated 2A team, which kind of made that easy choice there. They'll get Franklin Pierce. That's not an easy matchup in the opening round. Franklin Pierce has played well in the SBSL, and but they'll end up as number 16. But the rest of it, and the 2A committee was up here, so I was able to eavesdrop a little bit while we were setting up. And it seemed like they were fairly quickly to point to Steilacoom as number 2.
Yeah, and that team is very talented. They have a loss to Linden, who's at number 3, but since that day, I don't think there's a ton of people that would argue Steilacoom's been the better team.
And it was a 1-point loss, wasn't it?
It was very close.
Yeah.
It was like a 55-54 type game, something like that. And then, you get Hawkinson at number 4, and some people
the 2-time defending champions.
Yeah, and they're missing two of the best athletes in the state, regardless of classification. But one of the things that people need to realize, the committee is not looking. Sawyer Racanelli has been out all year.
Yeah.
That doesn't change anything as far as the committee. They only look at maybe a little bit of, the Peyton Brammer injury kind of affecting that a little bit. So I think Hawkinson being at number 4, they're dangerous.
Yes,
because
very
they can
dangerous.
still run the ball. Levi Crum is still a very good quarterback. They still have some other receivers. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. If we're talking Hawkinson-Tumwater in the semifinals, and then potentially Hawkinson versus Steilacoom or Linden in the finals, that's a couple of great weeks of high school football right there.
Yeah. Any of those getting in for sure. And then you have, I think, maybe the most interesting matchup in the first round to me is Archbishop Murphy and North Kitsap. Those are two. I mean, Archbishop Murphy is usually in the top 4, and North Kitsap is just one of those consistent programs. They're always there. Sometimes they don't get to play the toughest of schedules out there on the peninsula, and so sometimes it's really hard to gauge. To me, they're always hard to gauge coming into the playoffs because you don't know exactly. You know that they're good. You know that they're solid, but are they great? And that's always the question, it seems like, with North Kitsap for me.
Well, and they're always going to be well coached.
Yes.
Jeff Weibel does a tremendous job out there. And
Jerry Parrish from years ago was there for years. Yep.
And you know what? These two teams, they've met quite a few times over the years.
Yeah.
Before the seating committee, they met probably 2 or 3 years in a row, it seemed like. And they were always pretty good games. This is two of the better, more consistent programs in the state, and here they are meeting at number 8 and number 9. I mean, that's when you talk about intriguing first-round matchups, it's always hard because you instantly almost turn to 8-9 because those should be the two most even teams. That might be your best first-round matchup right there.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the 3A here real quick. And 3A, again, this one was decided, the 1 and 2, in a head-to-head matchup. O'Day and Eastside Catholic. O'Day with frankly a convincing win in that. I'm sure you were at that game, right?
Actually, I was not. I was over in Connell. I was at Royal at Connell that night.
Of course you were.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I haven't even seen Eastside Catholic once this year. I saw O'Day for the first time 2 nights ago. So.
All right. So O'Day number 1, Eastside Catholic number 2, and then you have at number 3 Lincoln.
Yeah.
The Abes, and this is where it gets a little bit convoluted of trying to figure out. Bethel at number 4. Lincoln was the winner of the PCL. Bethel placed second, and they end up 3 and 4, right behind each other. And then you have at number 5, where'd that go? Kennewick, and then Marysville Pilchuck, who's undefeated. They're 11-0. Bellevue is Bellevue, right?
Yeah.
Then
they don't have as much talent, maybe, as what people remember, but they're still a real good football team.
And Mount Spokane Peninsula 8 and 9. Number 10 is Lakes. This in this bracket. Okay, we know about O'Day and Eastside Catholic. We know that. But I really think the rest of it, because you have some talented teams here. Lakes is a younger team, but they have a lot of talent coming on, and they're getting better and better. Prairie is having a great
best
season.
year they've probably ever had.
Yep, exactly. And they're coming on. Yelm, I really like Yelm.
Yeah.
They graduated a lot of kids last year and just fell short in the quarters last year. This is a program now that is starting to draw players that have not played. They left, and that culture is coming together for Coach Ronquillo out there at Yelm. So I think
they got some big bodies.
Yep, they do.
Real big bodies.
They do. And then finishing up here at number 13 is Garfield. 14, Seattle Prep, 15 is Squalicum, and number 16, Kelso. So overall, what sticks out to you here in the 3A bracket as very interesting to you?
You know, obviously everybody talks about the top two teams with O'Day and Eastside Catholic kind of being on their own level, and you know that might be true. But I'll tell you what, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. There's some really good football teams here, and there's some teams. Marysville-Pilchuck is huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are huge. Their left tackle's like 6'6", 275. Their right tackle's like 6'4", 325. I mean, they are huge, and they run the ball as well as anybody. And it's in the state tournament, if you can really run the rock and you can control the clock, you can sneak up on some teams. Obviously, it's hard to come back if you get down.
Right.
But that's a team. I think Marysville-Pilchuck's kind of a sleeper there. It wouldn't surprise me to see them in the semifinals. And then Bethel. It's funny that 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Bethel, Kennewick, Marysville-Pilchuck. To me, those three are so close together. They're so close together. Bethel's 3 losses are to O'Day, Kennedy Catholic, and Lincoln. You're talking about that's 3 teams that's 2 number 1s, and a number 3. That's an incredible schedule.
Yeah. They didn't shy away from anyone.
Talented too.
They are. We did their game against Lakes, and who's the head coach at Bethel?
Mark Iddens.
Mark. Had to talk with him after the game. Lakes came back on them, and they had a chance to get the ball back and one last chance to make a run at Bethel. Bethel goes for it on 4th down. What was it, 4th and 5?
4th and 5.
4th and 5, and instead of punting it and pinning them back, went for it. You know why? And got the first down, and then says, he goes, hey, I did it out of necessity. We were on our 3rd long snapper, and they were having trouble getting the ball back. He says, I figured even if we get stopped, is a better chance than having,
potentially having to go the other way.
Go the other way, and even if it's just a low snap and my punter's got to jump on it, we're going to lose 10 yards here. So we went this way, ended up getting the first down and winning the game. It was an incredible game. And so Bethel, one of those teams out of there. This 3A bracket might be a little more interesting than folks think, and maybe just not go ahead and anoint O'Day or Eastside Catholic.
I think
just
the
yet.
semifinals could be real fun.
But I think the road still goes through one of those teams.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think that's still where you have to go. Okay, here's our final bracket here, the 4A. And number 1, this is interesting at the top because I think you could have gone with, one of 4 teams easy for your number 1 through 4. It ended up being Kennedy Catholic, number 1, number 2, Camas, number 3, Lake Stevens, and number 4, Graham Kapowson. Your thoughts on how that came out?
I would agree with you. Any one of those 4 is. Look, we're also talking about the 4 undefeated teams that are left. But Kennedy Catholic, what they've done this year, their defense is, vastly improved.
Well, yeah, and that is the huge change from last year where they were just simply trying to outscore everyone.
Yep. Well, and this year they've also been able to run the ball when needed. They've actually kind of almost put a little bit more of a commitment to the run game, if you will. So Kennedy Catholic, with what they've done so far, I know you and I have talked about it before. The NPSL is maybe not the greatest conference,
right?
But look, they also out of conference, they beat a good Bethel team, they beat a good Bothell team.
Yeah.
So it's not like they haven't.
They didn't shy away from competition outside of it.
And they also beat Kentwood, and they beat Kentwood handily. So
and Kentwood beat them last year.
Yeah, they did. Actually, Kentwood's beat them probably 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years.
Yep.
So I'm really high on Kennedy Catholic, but I think you're right. The number 2 there. Camas, they're very, very talented, and they're big up front. They can run the ball as well as anybody in the state. they lost their quarterback, Jake Blair, to a season-ending injury, but the young man that steps in behind him, he's no slouch himself. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I really like the top four, but this bracket, when it was up on the board and it was like, all right, is this what we're going with? I tell you what, I got really excited. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and then after that, because, okay, we got the top four, and then just coming in behind, I mean, I'll tell you, we have seen Puyallup several times.
Yeah.
They have to be playing as well as anyone right now coming in to this playoff. I have not seen Bothell or Chiawana, but I imagine those two teams, they have
5,
a
6,
history.
7,
yeah.
Same as 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Anybody in 5, 6, 7, you could have flipped them and been just fine. Bothell's 2 losses are to O'Day and Kennedy Catholic, and then you have Puyallup, their losses to Graham Kapowson, Chiawana, their losses to Union, and Chiawana left some points on the board that day. They could have scored some more points and maybe even won that game. Chiawana's defense is incredible. Through I believe it was through 8 weeks, they'd only given up 140 total rushing yards. I mean,
wow.
That's unbelievable,
Yeah.
So,
but they get
and then you get Woodinville, who, if it wasn't for a 2-minute, comeback by Bothell, Woodinville, we might be talking about them in the top 4.
Yeah.
And they're at number 8 against Skyview, who is pretty dang good themselves, And then Eastlake finished number 2 in Kinko. I mean, this is pretty wild. And
the defending champs are number 14.
Mount Si at Chiawana in week 1 with the offense and what I saw at Mount Si last night up against Monroe and Chiawana. I mean, this like I said, when I looked at it, I was salivating. I mean, this is awesome.
So some of the potential matchups, if you look, Kennedy Catholic advances, they're going to get Woodinville or Skyview.
Yeah. I mean, a Woodinville team that prides themselves in defense against Kennedy's high-powered offense. I mean, you just look Lake Stevens, Chiawana in round 2.
Yep.
I mean, that would just be an unbelievable football game. This is, like I said, this is awesome.
Camas, Puyallup, potentially.
Yeah, and this is where when we talk about the way it used to be, we would have ended up with, maybe a Kennedy playing a Camas in the first round.
Right.
You just never know what it could have been because District 3 is so big that Kennedy would have won the NPSL, but they would have ended up maybe being the number 3 out of their district. So you don't know where they would have gone. So.
Right, exactly. So these are the brackets, folks, and it is time to kick it off. Now, the one thing I didn't get to Greg Whitmore about is how they decide where and when they play. And we know it's Friday or Saturday, but do you know, are there
it's all district-approved sites.
District-approved sites, yeah. So if you happen to have a natural turf field and it's all chewed up, you're not going to get to play on it.
Yes, like in years past, Bellarmine Prep was not able to play at home. They used Mount Tahoma. They now have turf, so I would assume they'd be able to use it. But take, for instance, Eastside Catholic. They play their state tournament games typically at Seattle Memorial Stadium because their home stand, I believe their visitor stands are too small is what the idea is.
Okay, yeah. So there's some, and those will typically, now that these are out and they know who they're playing each other, I'm sure that
many
of
within
them,
about 24 hours.
They already have been starting to talk because they got to make arrangements, especially
by this point, the two teams. Every team should have film of each other.
Yeah.
And coaches are breaking them down. So there's probably no coaches watching right now, but it's all the players and everybody else, hopefully.
There's probably no one watching at this point, right?
Let's just assume
the Sounders are playing.
Yeah.
See, NFL Sunday, and you're watching this. Okay. But, hey, thank you for watching. This is the first time we've done this. It wasn't, I'm sure, the smoothest or best, but we do our best, and the brackets are set. And we got a lot of great football coming up for you. I want to thank Ryland Spencer and Greg Whitmore, Tony Davila, Jeff Monterochi. I do want to thank as well. By the way, Andy Bueller's here with Scorebook Live, right? Scorebook Live. He and Todd Millis do a tremendous job of covering high school sports. Go to scorebooklive.com or find Andy or Todd on Twitter and check out their stuff. They put out tremendous coverage of high school sports. And, again, that is the sad thing, is we're losing a lot of coverage as the traditional media continues to chip away at it. There are guys like Andy and Todd and us and Ryland and what they do with Cascadia Preps as well. A lot of good stuff on Ryland. And Go ahead. Come on. Let's hear your website.
Oh, CascadiaPreps.com. Straightforward.
There you go. Find them there as well. And we're all trying to chip in and try to cover that ever-expanding gap. So we hope you enjoyed this reveal show. We hope that you get out to the games, cheer on your teams, and let's have some great games. And it all gets underway. Before I go, I'm going to promote us a little bit here. We have a busy week. We will be in Yakima and Ellensburg. Every single match of every single classification of every volleyball match or every volleyball tournament we will have on the air. And we're starting this week with the 1B, 2B, and 1A at the Sun Dome in Yakima. That's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The Bs go Thursday and Friday. 1A goes Friday and Saturday. The 2A will be at Central Washington University in Ellensburg. We'll have a crew there. Next week, every single state Final Four soccer tournament we'll have on the air as well. We have crews at Shoreline, Sumner, and Sparks, and we'll also be back. We haven't forgotten the 3A, 4A volleyball. We have to go back to Yakima. We'll be back in Yakima for 3A, 4A volleyball. And at the same time, Ryland, we're going to try and throw in some football in all of that as well. So that is, we've got a busy 2 weeks coming up for us, and we hope this is a free broadcast. So if you're watching it free, the subscription is $10 a month. For 30 days, you'll get all of that, and you can cancel at the end. There's no commitment. That's the cool thing about it. And you can jump on and get all of those broadcasts. Plus, we're going to try and get as many of the semifinals as possible on the air of football, and then all 6 state finals you can watch live on the NFHS network as well through Eli Sports Network. Thanks for watching. Have a great tournament, and we'll see you at the games coming up here on the Eli and the NFHS Sports Networks.
Thanks for watching the 2019 WIAA State Football Tournament Bracket Show. Check back on the Eli Sports Network at elisportsnetwork.com for a full broadcast schedule on the ESN and NFHS Sports Networks.